Okay, here are our solutions to section 8-5, surface area of a cone. These are the letter solutions. In problem letter A, first of all, we're being asked only for the lateral surface area, this portion here, and we have pi RL for our formula. We have a radius of 4 and a slant height of 9.5. We're just using the pi RL, pi times the radius times the height of 4 and 9.5. Notice we can convert this to 38 pi. Some of you can do this in your head. 4 times 9 is 36, and half of 4 is another 2, so 38 pi. Put it in the calculator, 119.4 square inches. Or you could just put it into the calculator like this. Either way works, but I'd like to have you work on doing some math in your head. For letter B, again we're being asked for the lateral surface area, radius of 8, a slant height L of 10. So we've got pi times 8 times 10, again easily done in the head, 80 pi, and the answer is 251.3 square centimeters. Letter C, we're looking for total surface area in this case. So we've got surface area equals pi RL plus pi R squared. So we've got a radius of 4.5, a slant height of 20, 4.5, 20, and 4.5 squared. So we've got pi times 4.5 times 20 plus pi times 4.5 squared. And we get 346.4 square millimeters in this case. And then problem letter D. Again, we're being asked for lateral only, so it's pi RL, just these three numbers. But they gave us a diameter of 8, so we need to reduce it to a radius of 2. And notice, once again, we can go pi times the radius times the slant height. But this is easy to do in the head. It's 44 pi, and 44 pi is 138.2 square inches in the calculator. Please do your guided practice. Here are your solutions to guided practice for section 8-5, surface area of a cone. The first problem, they are looking only for the lateral surface area, so we can just use this part of the formula, pi RL. We have a radius of 12, slant height of 18, so we're looking at pi times the radius of 12 times the slant height of 18. We get 678.6 square feet. Problem number 2. Again, it's lateral, pi RL. But they give us a diameter of 30, so we reduce it to a radius of 15. The lateral slant height is 6, so it's pi times 15 times 6. You can do the 15 times 6. 10 times 6 is 60. 5 times 6 is 30. 60 and 30 is 90 pi. 90 pi in the calculator is 282.7 square meters. Problem number 3, we have a radius of 6, a slant height of 16. Again, we're still doing lateral, so it's pi times the radius of 6 times the slant height of 16. We get 301.6 square centimeters. Again, still lateral. They give us a diameter. We reduce it by half to 3.5 for a radius. Slant height of 21, so it's pi times the radius of 3.5 times the slant height of 21. In the calculator, 230.9 square meters. Now problem number 5 is back to total surface area, so our formula changes a little bit. It's pi RL for the lateral surface area and pi R squared for the circular base. So add the two together. First of all, we start out with a diameter of 25, so cut it in half. The radius would be 12.5, slant height of 20. So we get pi times 12.5 times 20, in parentheses, remember, because we cannot mix and match because of addition here, and then pi times the radius of 12.5 squared. Put it all in the calculator and add it up. It's 1,276.3 square inches. Problem number 6, pi RL plus pi R squared, because again we're looking for total surface area. Radius is 3, slant height is 10, so the 10 goes into the slant height here, the radius goes both here and here. So it's pi times radius times slant height plus pi times the radius squared. So notice that this is 3 times 10, 30 pi, and this is 3 times 3, which, or in other words, 9 pi. So we have 39 pi, makes it nice and easy to put into the calculator. 122.5 square meters. 7. In this case, we have a fraction, but in this particular case, because we're dealing with pi here, pi, we are not going to use fractions to do pi. So because we are dealing with a decimal with pi, and using the pi key, in these cases, you can immediately turn this into a decimal. So you can go 5 divided by 8, and that would get you 0.625. Just add on the 2, and you get 2.625, or in other words, 2 and 625 thousandths. And because that's a diameter, we have to cut it in half, and that becomes 1.3125 for the radius. Slant height is nice and easy at 6. So we're going to do pi times r times L. So it's pi times 1.3125 times 6. Put it in the calculator. 24.7 inches squared. Again, to review that, as long as we have pi involved, don't worry about fractions. You don't have to give fractional answers. You can put it in the calculator. And then lastly, they ask about the difference between volume and surface area. And one good sample answer to this would be that volume is about the amount of something in a container. It's three-dimensional. We usually talk about, we could talk about the air in a room. We could talk about the gas in a gas can, or paint in a can. Okay, those are all volumes. Gallon of milk. Okay, surface area is the sum of all surface areas. That is a two-dimensional measurement. So in other words, we could talk about the wallpaper needed to wallpaper, let's say, 4 walls in a home. We could figure out each individual surface area, add them up. Another good way to think about this is how much weed killer would it take for your particular lawn, and then you can look on the package and it would say that it covers 5,000 square feet. So you figure out the total surface area of all the different little patches of your lawn, and if it's less than 5,000, that one package will do. If it's 25,000, you need 5 packages.